Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we'll be talking about Exam 2, Developmental Theory, Health, Wellness, Critical Thinking. This is the question and answer video to Exam 2. And I'll ask you to hit the like button, please subscribe, and please share this video. Questions and answers directly from RN NCLEX examination. The first question is, what is the primary focus of community nursing? 1. To decrease incidence of disease in the community. 2. To increase the ability of patients to self-manage their symptoms. Number 1 was to decrease incidence of diseases in the community. 2, increase the ability of patients to self-manage their symptoms. 3, provide education programs to patients and families. 4, provide information to teachers in local schools in the community. 5, teaching health promotion, illness and prevention. 6, improve the health in the community. 7, provide resources to children in the community. My next question, what do you know about vulnerable population of patients? What do you know about vulnerable population of patients? 1, they have more health problems is the correct answer. 2, they have excess risk. 3, they have limits in access to healthcare services and dependence on care from others are the correct answers to vulnerable population of patients. The next question, what are public health problems affecting elderly